Happy Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion in the Garage. Somebody sent me something which was interesting. I don't have it in front of me, but it was a great line. You're listening to the program that says the things that you'd like to say, and if you did, you'd probably be sacked. I hope that's not true. No, woke has not yet reached the garage, has it, Pete?
Sorry?
Woke has not yet reached the garage. No, we'll keep the woke out of here, I tell you. We'll get to the business of the day in a second, but I can tell you it's March 7. Happy birthday or happy wedding anniversary. It was this day in 1930 that Anthony Armstrong Jones, Lord Snowdon, as he was, British photographer and husband of Princess Margaret, was born in London. He died in 2017, but born 1930. Princess Margaret, she was a rebel. She had, I remember doing a very long interview with Andy Williams, and I'd heard this little rumour that he, at the time, was having an affair with Princess Margaret. And I'd rolled the tape, and I said, "How well do you know Princess Margaret?" And he said, would you stop the tape? Oh, dear. So I stopped the tape, and he said, "Look, please don't go there. I mean, don't go. You can ask me anything you like, but my relationship with Princess Margaret is beyond the media. I don't talk about it." So they were obviously very, very close, and it was a meaningful relationship. If I'd had less integrity, I'd have rolled not closed. Stop the tape. No, that would have been wrong. No. Aristotle, 322 BC. Aristotle, Greek philosopher, known as the father of logic, biology, and zoology. He dies at the age of 61. Interesting that such notes are kept. 322 BC. Aristotle. Arthur Conan Doyle publishes The Return of Sherlock Holmes. This was after the public pressure in London to reverse his decision to kill him off. Sherlock Holmes, I mean. He just had to bring Sherlock back. Sherlock Holmes. 1905, that was. There is a genre that stood the test of time. Golly. Oprah Winfrey interviews Harry and Meghan, Duke and Duchess of Sussex, broadcast on CBS. Alleges Meghan was made suicidal and subject to racial torment by the palace. See, I don't believe that. Hey, did you see the thing that South Park did on Harry and Meghan? Did you see it, Pete?
Yes, very funny.
Oh, cutting. Absolutely true. What did they do? The privacy tour of the world with the brass band. Oh dear. You can do a lot with humour, you know. Satire, I mean. Anyway, that was 2021. Adolf Hitler breaks the Treaty of Versailles by sending troops into the Rhineland. That was in 1936. Would you believe a word that man said? Cameron Daddo. It was a time, you know, when the media was filled with more daddos than you could imagine. There was a daddo everywhere, on every channel. Anyway, 1965, Cameron Daddo, Australian actor, born in Melbourne, 1965. Roald Amundsen announces his discovery of the South Pole, located on the 14th of December 1911, but the announcement was made on this day in 1912. Raoul Amundsen. Stanley Kubrick, film director, an American, A Space Odyssey, Clockwork Orange, dies at the age of 70. That was in 1928. He was born. I must admit I don't think I ever saw Clockwork Orange. It was just, to me, too violent. I wouldn't have enjoyed that. But A Space Odyssey I didn't understand. I suppose it was very clever for the time. King Henry VIII divorces, well, he asked for a divorce from the Pope and the Pope said no. That was 1530. But he got around that. But we won't go into it here. Tammy Faye Baker, American Christian singer and former wife of Jimmy Baker, born in International Falls, Minnesota, dies 2007, born this day in 1942. She was the one with the lots and lots of eye makeup, wasn't she? Do you remember that, Pete?
No, I don't. No.
She was a kind of a caricature of the times in many ways. What else happened? Charlie Sheen is fired from CBS. Charlie was fired from everywhere. That was in 2011. Rex Hunt, the Australian TV and radio personality. He was born in Melbourne, 1949. Alice B. Toklas, American Parisian avant-garde companion of Gertrude Stein. Very famous for saying, "A rose is a rose is a rose." Dies at 89 years of age on this day in 1967. Anyway, if you remember the day, as I'm sure you will for 1,000 different reasons, hope it's going to be a good one. It's a lovely time of the year. We should enjoy it, do the best we can to enjoy it. There's some bickering over who should build the next generation of Australian submarines. The Libs are saying that the Americans have the headroom to build our subs, that is the capacity, and that the Brits are not up to it. The truth is, in all honesty, it should be the focus of all political parties and all Australians that we build those submarines and we do everything humanly possible to reinstate our manufacturing industry and capacity as fast as we can. Those subs should be built here. Really, it gives us independence, employment, sovereignty, and particularly when you're talking about defence. And yes, we can do it. Of course we can do it. Let me quote here the Prime Minister with regard to something we're all familiar with, making ends meet. Making ends meet. And the immediate and future budget decisions of the federal government. Making ends meet. The people of Australia sit around the kitchen table, well, at your place, I'm assuming it happens at my place, and we talk about making ends meet. May I say, Prime Minister, the simple thing in life is whether you're running a house or a country, we do not live beyond our means. There's no earthly reason why you'd spend money that you don't have and then look around and raid people's superannuation, for example. No, we don't do that. We live within our means. But then again, a lot of people, hopefully the majority, don't have this socialist ideal for ourselves and the world, and then worry about how the hell we're going to afford what we want to do after we've spent the money. Now, we just don't do that. Just worry about the services that we have to provide, and we collect enough money to do the job, and that's not complicated. What is the old saying, Pete? You cut your coat according to the cloth.
That's it.
Yeah, it's a very simple thing. These guys go out and spend, and then worry about where they're going to get the money from. It's back to front. And I did get some people talking to me about my comments on superannuation and this current attack on those people who have $3 million in their account. Let me say, I have no superannuation. I have no axe to grind. I just want these people to be honest, keep their promises, and understand that a young man starting out at the age of maybe 24, or a young woman starting out at the same age, putting money into super, because this new law, if it comes in, if it passes, talks about $3 million in today's money, that guy or that girl at 24 with inflation and this decision not being indexed will find these people after 40 years of hard work in the same boat as multi-millionaires. And that's not right. Not right, Mr. Albanese. Not right. Not fair. Just to give you an idea how crazy these people are, according to the Sun Herald on Friday, you can look it up, the Defence Department paid $800,000 for the refurbishment of an office for the Minister for Defence, Richard Marles. He didn't want the office. He doesn't use the office, according to the story. $800,000, that's nearly $1 million. Who authorised the refurbishment of the office? Who signed off on it? When it comes to public money, there should be enormous scrutiny and accountability. Every dollar spent should be accounted for. And as I've said to you before, a wasteful, profligate government, it doesn't matter how much tax we pay, it will never be enough. Never. You can imagine what the big ticket items would be. Can you imagine how much we're being overcharged for air warfare destroyers or submarines or aeroplanes, the F-35 or patrol boats? Can you imagine? Is there anybody keeping tabs on it? Clearly, no. Australia has decided to back Vanuatu. Don't know if you've heard this. It's an interesting story. Vanuatu has appealed to the International Court of Justice in The Hague to force big emitting countries, big polluting countries, to pay compensation to countries like Vanuatu to combat, you guessed it, climate change. They are talking about the water level rising. All over the world, it's the same water. If it's water's rising in Vanuatu, it would be rising here in Adelaide, or in Sydney Harbour, or in Perth, or Darwin. But do you hear anybody talking about that? No. The Chinese have not signed up to this. The Americans haven't signed up to it. Indonesia hasn't signed up. The Indians haven't signed up. You know one thing that all of those countries have in common? They are really big polluters. Big polluters. Here we are in Australia, we contribute less than 1.3% to global emissions. Yet, of course, we have to sign up. Not only do we sign up, but my guess is that we will pay up. The whole climate change business is a thinly disguised attempt to redistribute global wealth. Never elect a socialist government, because their mission is just that. The redistribution of wealth has nothing to do with the earning or the encouragement that governments should undertake to help people become self-sufficient. Again, I remind you that if you want to know about climate change, it's there for all of us to see. You simply Google the question, is climate change natural? Simple question. And it will tell you, and you will see, it has little to do with humankind. That is the truth. That is the truth. Do I have time for one more? Australia's Jetstar airline has been ranked here as the third most unpopular in the world. Jetstar is the third most unpopular airline in the world. I'm sure there are worse airlines in the world. You go to South America, if you want a dodgy airline, in fact, you go to China. If you go to China, and I'm not talking about the big ones, but you go out into the back blocks of China and you travel by some of these little airlines, it's amazing. I went to China. We took, when I was working at 2GB, I was doing mornings at 2GB back in the, it was just after the Tiananmen Square massacre. And we had, I think it must have been about 60 people came with us. Big contingent of Australians. And we had an amazing time in China. I mean, I loved the country. I thought it was an amazingly complicated, eclectic, but fascinating country. But when you get out into the back blocks with some of these airlines, you know, they have crates of Coca-Cola stacked up in the aisles. There's don't worry about seatbelts. Don't worry about that. And there are boxes of chickens, all squawking and carrying on, just inside the front door. Very colourful and interesting. I don't know what the scale of these people who rate airlines are looking at, but I do not think, honestly, that Jetstar could possibly be the third most unpopular airline. Or maybe we're just getting kind of churlish in our old age. Anyway, thank you very much for viewing the Court of Public Opinion, ladies and gentlemen. We'll look forward to your company tomorrow. I'm Jeremy Cordeaux. Peter Clayton is with me. Believe in yourself, and we'll talk soon.